Not too sure I want this anymore. 6 weeks ago now, my 35 meters found out my WW33F of 15 years has been cheating off and on for around 12 of them. In the beginning of our relationship, I had somewhat of an emotional affair with an ex-girlfriend from high school. It consisted of talking to her through tough times and enjoying the attention she gave me. I suppose I could say looking back that I was in a state of limerence, not really being sure what I wanted then, as I was young and incredibly stupid. I never wanted to leave my wife. I truly and deeply love her, and that has never changed. This continued for around 3 years, nothing romantic whatsoever, but hurtful to my spouse all the same. I deeply regret it, and have done everything I can for the last 12 years to ensure my wife knows she's my one and only. She has all of my passwords, 24/7 access to any information she needs, and has enjoyed a significant amount of free rein in our relationship due to my undying devotion to her. Unfortunately, that devotion and willingness to turn a blind eye caused me to overlook a significant amount of red flags throughout the years. I want to give a detailed account of them as I am only now remembering, and so you can understand the problems we currently have. Early on, around year 3, she shared a bed at a party with a strange man, not wanting to make him sleep on the floor. She told me about that and I thought it was funny and innocent. Sometime around her 21st birthday she went to the bar with co-workers. I stayed up late that night and got worried as the time got later and later. Tried calling a few times to no answer, until finally around 3 a.m. she called me back and explained she had been driving a co-worker around town for hours trying to find his house. When she found out about my final conversation with my ex, she started talking to and spending significant time with a close male friend she's had for many years, what is assumed was her first AP. AP1, she said that he would comfort her and it started innocently, but due to me not wanting her to continue seeing him it escalated. They would work out together, hang out and watch TV, and she would take my son swimming at his house. Finally they made the switch to a full-blown PA that lasted for at least 6 months. During that time we fought often, and I tried to leave twice, ending with my then 4-year-old son chasing me down the road barefoot begging me not to leave. Hardest day of my life until recently, and really made me change the road I was walking. I took all of the time she spent with him as friend time, especially since he was her best friend's ex. It hurt, but I deserved it then, as I wasn't being a good man at the time. I never even thought anything could happen, until I caught them one day at my house together when I returned early from work. She quickly ushered him out, no real explanation, and left me standing there fuming. Her second AP2 happened after a time of healing between the two of us. She started talking to him at work. He was handsome, very fit, and they shared all of the same interests. She started giving more time to him, and eventually started visiting his house. During this time, she had a DeviantArt account, and told me about a story he had written that she proofread for him. I looked it up, and it was a full-blown work affair story about him and a co-worker that was described exactly like my wife. Of course, I got very mad, and tried to voice that. But again this drove her to spend more time with this guy. She says that was no more than an ease. She really enjoyed the attention he gave her, and liked the fact that he so obviously liked her. To top that off, he drew the tattoo I have on my right calf. I was so mad and felt forgotten and unloved. And so, I reached out to another ex through texting. We talked dirty, and it felt very good to be wanted, as I had been ignored and hurt. Again, no intention at all of leaving my wife, but absolutely wrong and disgusting. WW found out, due to having all of my passwords and me not realizing she even cared anymore. We moved to California around 7 years in, after all of the previous stuff, and really started to rebuild a beautiful and meaningful life together. We got baptized, loved the beach and mountains, and started to put love first, or so I thought. It turns out I was wrong, as during this time she continued to talk to AP1, claiming he was still this longtime friend, even knowing full well that she had slept with him. At some point AP2 flew out to where we moved as well to train people at our new job location. This day had me nervous, and again she was late coming home by 3-4 hours, claiming she was saying goodbye to her friend, and there were plenty of others there. Sadly, I don't know what actually happened and can't really trust anything she says now. We had our second child 4 years into the move, and she fell into a deep PPD. And so, willing to do anything for her, I decided that we needed to move back home to be closer to family and help. We moved in with her parents temporarily while I found work, and she became a ZAM. This was her dream, and I was, and still am, so very proud to make it come to fruition. A year into being back, she started talking to people online. Apparently she even invited a stranger to town because she wanted to make friends. She swore nothing happened, and that they went to Walmart and did laundry together. For at least a year afterwards she downloaded the Kik app and talked, timed, and traded nudes with so many men and women around the world. This is ultimately what led to me finding out, as she had jealously started guarding her phone. I finally asked her to fess up, and she told me all of the details previous to this point. 2 weeks after D-Day, she had a trip planned to Florida. I dealt really well with the prior information, and was processing my emotions and doing well, until she decided to take that trip alone. The night she got there I got no call, no good night, and she shut her phone off. I panicked and legitimately thought she was dead, or cheating. Which set off the worst panic attack and PTSD episodes I have ever experienced in my life. She got back from the trip and blew up about me ruining it, and ever since she has been extremely ambivalent toward our relationship. Where before the trip she was willing to do literally anything to save us, now she wasn't so sure, and started giving me a list of all the bad things I had been doing through the years. She is very hot-cold to me, and it is difficult to process. I don't want to leave, but after remembering everything it's so difficult to even pretend that it's worth saving. She started IC last week, and I am starting this week. We plan so far to do that for 3-6 months before either MC or separation. We are physically intimate on occasion, but she usually asks me why time is so important. If I ignore her, or show no real concern, she will hold my hand or follow me around. However, when I'm loving and tender, she pulls away and almost treats me like an acquaintance. I suppose the questions I have are: 1. Is our relationship worth saving at this point? 2. What boundaries do I need to set in order for us to be safe during this process? 3. Is the fact that we never got counseling, or went through the process for my original act, the reason she has decided to act out for so long? 4. Is there real hope for a new relationship, one in which I am loved, wanted, and desired in the same way I have given for these past 15 years? 5. What are the actual steps to a real reconciliation? Thank you for reading. I know it is long. This is complicated and tough, as we are both BS and WS, regardless of the severity of affairs. I do love my wife with all my soul, and adore the little family we have. Any suggestions are welcome, thanks. Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, I don't wish to come off jaded like the other people who commented. I am about a month away from my own D-Day, and we had an 8-year relationship with only 6-month affair of hers. She was very open with our relationship struggles and how she was unhappy. She broke up with me in January after she ducked up, but around Jan we still kept getting to make our relationship work. At that time I didn't know she was cheating. Since catching her, she has submitted herself to therapy completely and taking pills for some of her issues. She seems like a different person. She quit her job, changed her phone number, deleted her social media, and told me she would keep tracker apps on her phone for my peace of mind if we got together again, and I still have my doubts. Your story, on the other hand, is with an individual who has been caught red-handed cheating several times and has made no attempt to change their behavior or actions. I am considering reconciling, but our relationship would be on life support and I'm still not sure it would work. That's with both of us trying hard. It does not seem like your SOS was interested in making it work. Answer: I think jaded was the wrong word to use, I suppose. I'm sorry you're going through this too. I don't know if she can change, but I want us to work as we've been together for half of our lives. I've been thinking about separation recently to give us both space, especially as it seems she doesn't really want to make it work. It has been eating at me because of the fact we've been making it work for over a decade now, and she has been unfaithful all along. Redditor 2, so, you both truly haven't dealt with one another's infidelities, you have rug-swept affairs, and that built up resentments on both sides. This may be a jaded view to you, but if you asked expert therapists, they would even tell you, there may be too much damage here to recover. It takes 5 years or more for a relationship to recover from infidelity if you do everything right. It's not guaranteed. Most importantly, the wayward must stop any and all contact with APs or PAPs, and get into therapy for themselves to fix their broken characters. After this long and the rug sweeping in your marriage, the relationship also appears to be full of codependency too. I'm just citing here your challenges, and if the wayward doesn't own what they did, isn't remorseful, and doesn't believe they need to change, guess what? You cannot reconcile the relationship. Answer: from what I gather, I've been through roughly 12 years of falsa since D-Day. She has owned her affair, says she wants to change, and has said she doesn't feel worthy of me anymore. Just words, I know. We were very young with the first incidents, and had no money or anything for counseling. Not because I didn't want it, but I truly thought we had rebuilt together with honesty and open communication. Redditor 3, so your wife went for a trip just 2 weeks after D-Day. Why did you allow that, and how can you be sure that she didn't cheat while she was there? You say in the comments she is trying by like this. I rug-swept my wife's affair, but not like this. At least I put some hard boundaries and she respected that. I'm sorry, but your WW has no respect for you. She is not someone good for you to reconcile, and your relationship has been toxic all the way. If she is still very hot cold, why even try? She betrayed you, and yet she is the one deciding things and taking time to think about reconciliation. I'm trying to reconcile with my wife because she is trying. She is doing everything and searching on the internet to do a few more, which honestly is one of the reasons I'm at least trying. Your WW doesn't sound remorseful at all. In fact, I think she's confused as to be with you or not. Put yourself first. You are in some sort of denial. Good luck. Answer: I completely agree. That's why I'm reaching out like this. Finally grew a backbone and attempted to kick her out after her poor me nonsense. Afterwards we went and talked with my brother and her best friend, and it seemed to change her attitude. She has started IC, but I'm unsure to what end. I don't know whether it's worth it to wait out the few months and see if she gets it, or separate now and let her get it on her own. Update: I slept alone last night. Hello again, everyone. It's been a rough few weeks for me. If you haven't seen my story yet, it's in my post history. I hadn't talked to my WW about anything concerning our relationship for the last 2 weeks at the advice of my therapist. Yesterday, I couldn't hold it in anymore and had to get to the bottom of what was really going on. I asked her about her PA 8 years ago now and how all of it went down. She explained most of it, but a few details really struck me as sad, demeaning, and destructive. The AP in this instance was a long-time friend of hers. She spent a ton of time with him, as we went through a rough time in our relationship. The devastating part to me is the way she says it started. That they were just hanging out and talking, and then he got naked. What the duck? No integrity whatsoever. How in the duck is that just a friend? I asked her to tell me what made our relationship special. You see, she loves all of her friends, and has admitted being attracted to several of them. She respects them, cares for them, and values everything they do for her. And here I am slaving away, providing for a family of 4, giving my entire heart and soul to you, and the love you have for me is no different than the love you have for any one of them. All this time it turns out all I have to do is listen to you, then just take my pants off, and you'll just take it from there. So, after our conversation, I told her that I have to start focusing on what's best for me. I can't make her want me, respect me, or love me. I made her move out of the bedroom and have set up North Carolina rules going forward. It's time to rebuild my shattered self-esteem, and create a monster that can never be hurt this way again. Who knows if she can actually change? She started buying books, going to IC, and has showed me she cares, but it may be too little, and far too late. Update: I'm sure you hear this all the time, but you were right, all of you. I was here a year ago in a state of panic, trying my best to hold on to the last pieces of my dying self. I was broken, lost, confused, and freshly betrayed by my WW of 15 years. I wasn't ready to hear the truth. I didn't want to hear that I had married a serial cheater that was never the person I held so dearly. I wasn't ready to hear how I would be used, and taken advantage of for her own personal gain. I told myself every one of you were just jaded. After all, you couldn't possibly know my person, our history, or the love we shared together. Oh, how blinded I was by my own self-righteousness. I tried for 9 months to rebuild the life we had. I gave all that I had to hang on to the past and not recognize the present for what it is. I was a fool, and am finally pulling my head out of my ass and rebuilding myself. Pulling myself out of a deep, dark hole that I am solely responsible for placing myself in. I don't know how I let it get this bad, or what in the hell happened to my sense of self-worth. I am a proud, confident, and strong man, not some soft pick-me chump. To anyone reading this, coming to this sub for the first time, know this: the people here have a wealth of group knowledge that will serve you well if you take their advice to heart. They are not jaded, ruined, or spiteful. They have seen your story, and heard it 100 times. And I'm sure just like me you'll think they're wrong. After all, they couldn't possibly know right. Don't make my same mistakes, and start taking back control of your life, before the darkness is all you have left. Much love to all of you in this club that nobody wants to belong to, and thank you for the compassion and help along this journey. I'll update sometime soon on how things are actually going in my life. I just haven't got the stomach to do so now. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, I think of the scene from A Christmas Carol Scrooge where Marley shows Scrooge all the ghosts of rich men trying to throw money at a living homeless person but no longer have the power to help. Reddit is basically like Marley and the ghosts. Can't guide you perfectly. We can guide a bit, but we are all doomed to make some of the mistakes while battling emotional attachment to a former life love. Redditor 2. It is okay that you weren't ready back then to face the situation you found yourself in. Such pain and betrayal is processed differently by everyone. Don't hold it against yourself that you tried. Some people need that so that they are able to move on. Maybe you are one of them and that would be okay. The only thing that would never be okay would be if you don't take care of your kids properly. Everything else can be worked out. Good to hear that you are moving on and are finally able to leave her. By that you give yourself the chance to live a life that you want to live and where you can find something in it that can fill you up with what you need. Are you already divorced from her? How is the custody with the kids arranged? Do you have someone around you that supports you in your way forward? Answer: not divorced yet, but will be filing soon. We have been separated since March, and she has moved 100 miles away. I have had my boys full time with her visiting every couple of weeks. She doesn't call them, or really seem to care anymore about how we are. It's sad and difficult to watch. No real support where I live, as we moved to be closer to her family who are terrible. After the divorce finalizes though I plan on moving much closer to my family and friends. Got a ton of support from them, but they are at least an hour away. Got one hell of a mess, but it will get better. Redditor 3, truthfully, you're gonna get a wide range of opinions on here. It's your job to sort through all the noise and apply the most apt info to your particular situation. The main problem with just finding out that you've been cheated on, is that your emotions are exploding and you're not in any condition to be making rational decisions. This site lays out your options, so you can hopefully make better informed decisions. Redditor 4, sorry to hear about your situation, but glad you finally got your head out of your ass. It hurts like the fucker, but it has to get better once we recognize and accept what we're really dealing with. I wish you all the best, including a swift and easy divorce, and gaining a much happier full life without that lying cheater. Redditor 5, it's okay bro, everyone here knows the deal already. They know you're probably going to listen, and come back later. As I like to say, everyone pays for their education. Your price was a lot time and unnecessary pain, but you are paid in full now, here's your diploma. Onwards and upwards bro, here's to a brighter future. Redditor 6, reconciling is a process that can only work if all the prerequisites are in place, to begin. And begin is key, because nothing is for certain. The wayward has to want to reconcile and for the right reasons. If not you end up just spinning your wheels, wasting time and money, not really moving forward. We don't know what we are doing, we don't know much of anything, we don't know how to reconcile and rug sweeping is useless. We need help, good solid help in reconciling. Someone to advocate for us both. To tell who is right in our feelings and who is not. A good therapist not into rug sweeping is necessary. Even then there are no guarantees at all. And the advice we get from Reddit is mostly anecdotal. And so much is nothing but feelings and gut logic. Gut logic is very often wrong. Sometimes we are simply doomed from the start. If we pick the wrong partner nothing is going to likely be right. I suggest we all research infidelity with as open a mind as possible. Nothing in infidelity actually makes sense, it isn't simply that every cheater is a bad person, nor that they purposely have done this, that or the other. Cheating is just not what we all assume it to be. And yes, people do cheat in perfectly good relationships, with nothing wrong at all. The human mind is easily perverted into doing things we simply cannot understand. It goes both ways. False reconciling is common, but so is cheating and not being able to understand why. Remorse is extremely important and a huge tell for deciding to try or leave. And remorse is not the same as guilt nor shame or embarrassed. But what do any of us really truly know? Just my thoughts on the subject.